Hello, Minecrafters and Redstoners. I'm Natanus Likens, and welcome to my creative world. We are here today to do a tutorial on a basalt farm. And for those who don't know, you can make basalt. You need 3 main ingredients. That is blue ice, soul soil, not to be confused with soul sand, and a lava bucket. We can demonstrate that very quickly with this little setup here. So I'm going to put the soul soil down there. I'm going to put the 2 blue ice on that side, and then right here in the middle we are going to put our lava, and voila, you have basalt. And that is the simple way of making basalt. In order to get started on this farm, you're gonna need a few resources. I'm gonna get a list together and pop it up here in a second, and pause the video right there so you can get all the materials together. Okay, to start off with, you may have noticed that I did not include building blocks in this. That is because you are going to use whatever building block you so desire. I, for this, have used diorite and diorite slabs in the polished variety. So what I want you to do is go out into your world and pick a spot. This is going to be where you AFK on this farm. It is going to be semi-automatic, meaning that it will only function while you are AFKing on it. So once you have your spot, I want you to dig down 2 blocks right there, and going forward on this block here, that way I want you to dig 26 blocks in a 2x3 area. So 2 down, 3 wide, 26 blocks that directions. And then behind you, same kind of deal, you're going to dig out 2 down and then 6 blocks that direction. Okay, now that you've got your area dug out, we need to do a little bit more digging, so I want you to come over this way, 7 blocks, and you are going to dig out 2 more this way, and then down this way 9 blocks. And then same for this area over here, you're going to come around this corner and you're going to dig out 5 blocks on this wall. And that should have the area ready. Now, take your building block and follow this pattern. We're going to start right below our AFK spot with 1 block, followed by another, and then we're going to come over 1 and go up 4. Then I want you to dig down 1 block, place your building block there, and then dig down 2 more blocks right here. From there, we're going to come over here. You're going to put a block here, go this way for the entire length of the area except for the last block there. So you're going to go 25 blocks that way, or 24 blocks that way, excuse me. And then once you're done with that, you're going to come over here 3 blocks and then put 2 right here, come over 1, put it here, 2 blocks this way, and then fill out this area so that you have a connecting path to this. We'll talk about this section in a minute. Okay, now that you have that area done, I want you to come over here to this block right here in the corner. You're going to go 2 blocks with your building block, and then you're going to just follow this wall all the way around. And then you're going to put like a little step up right here. You're going to come out 2 blocks this way, and in both directions I want you to go 14 blocks. And then once you have that, I want you to come right here. This is 6 blocks from where you started over there, and then you're going to add 2 blocks here. You're going to come over here to the 8th, add 2 blocks there. You also are going to need 2 blocks blocking the area right here. Put a block there for 1, that is where your lava is going to sit. Dig down 1 block on both sides here, and that's where your soul sand is going to go. On the sides of that, I want you to put another block, and on top of that is where our blue ice is going to go eventually. Then you're going to put a block right in front, and that's going to act as the stopper or the barrier for your lava when you get there. Then come to the ends, and I want you to dig out a 2x2 right here and put you 4 blocks right there. Now for this wall here, you're going to have to build a wall that is 14 blocks tall from the base of the redstone. Once you have that done, we're going to do a little weird pattern of going back and forth with our half slabs. So 1 block here, up, up, and then you're going to go from here 5 up, and then right here you're going to do 3 straight across. We'll get to why you have to do that in a minute. And then from here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is where you're going to start your path for the redstone in order to get to the TnT Dupers. So once you're up here, you're going to go 2 across there, then we're going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks across. And on the right side we're going to do 7 out, and on the left side we're going to do 6 out. Hey, this is Editing Natanus right here, and I made a mistake. You actually need to do 5 blocks out on this left side, not 6. Okay, now that you have the area prepped, we are going to come over here and start making the pushers and the basalt generators. So first up, we're going to put 1 piston on both sides of this block here. We're going to put our soil down on the floor like that, and put our blue ice on the sides of it. Now that we have that set up, I want you to put a temporary block right here. We're going to take an observer, we're going to jump on it. That way it is pointed down. You can go ahead and delete this block right here. We are not ready to put in the lava just yet. Then I want you to take your building blocks. You're going to put 1 right on top of the blue ice, and then 1 right there in the floor. From here, I want you to put a piston facing this way, and then a piston facing that way. This is going to act as a delay circuit for the observer, seeing as it is going to be putting out a whole bunch of signals once everything is in place. Then I want you to take a redstone block, you're going to put it right there. Alright, now for some of the redstone. We're not going to do all of it, we're just going to do a small portion of it. First off, this corner here, we are going to put dust on these blocks right here. You're going to put 2 repeaters right here. And we'll get to the settings on those in a minute because there is a bit of a tricky problem with those. We're going to put another repeater right here. This is going to act as a one-way circuit. Then we're going to put dust all the way up to this point right here. Same thing again, we're going to put a repeater right there so it acts as a one-way circuit. Then we're going to put a repeater behind this piston and this piston. Now that we got all that in place, I want you to take some dust, put it on top of the observer, this block, and then that block. So basically what this is going to do is the observer is going to detect the creation of basalt. It's going to send a signal over here. This piston is going to push the redstone block, which is going to power this line going into those repeaters, and this repeater, which then circles back around to the pistons, which then causes it to push every time the observer detects something being created or moving underneath it. Now, here's the tricky part. We got to work with the timings on these 2 repeaters, and oh boy, yeah, you may have to do a few adjustments. You may even have to add a few more repeaters there. It is kind of tricky. So on my Let's Play world, the setup I have for these is I have this one on 4 ticks and this one on 3 ticks. That is the setup from my Let's Play. Now let's take our lava and put it over here and watch what actually happens. Okay, so it only created 4 obsidian. 4 basalt. And that's as far as it pushed. So we need to adjust these repeaters right here, and the easiest way I can say to do that is remove your lava source, and then remove these. Remove the basalt. Let's try not to mess up too badly here. This is my first tutorial after all. So we need to play with these repeaters. Now, I've already experimented a little bit, and for some reason, having the first one on 3 ticks and having the second one on 3 ticks seems to work. However, considering some issues I was having with the TnT Duper, we're going to see if this works a second time. It may not. And it does look like it is working properly this time. So yes, those repeaters right there, if you're having any problems with this actually pushing out basalt, those are the 2 repeaters that you need to play with, maybe even add a couple more too, until you get the system working like it should. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here. 1 piston there, 1 piston there, put our soil in the floor, blue ice, blue ice. We're going to put a temporary block right there, an observer, and then you're going to put 2 blocks right there. We're going to come down here, put a piston, we're going to put a piston right there, redstone block, redstone right here through this corner, repeater and repeater right here. Then we're going to put another repeater right there. Again, this is to act as a one-way circuit. And put dust all the way up to this point. We're going to turn around here, put a repeater that way. It'll become more clear later what that is actually for. Then we are going to put repeater here and repeater there. And that should be almost everything. We just need dust right here. I almost forgot about it. Now, this should work properly first try. Perfect. Now, eagle-eyed fans and redstoners out there may notice that there is a problem with this. We are going to address that later. For now, it's time to start setting up the blast chambers. Okay, in order to set up the blast chambers, you can actually do this in any method you want. However, what I do suggest, being that we are using TnT Dupers and this is set up in a specific way, you need to come and build your blast chamber around the first 2 basalt blocks here. So technically there are 3 inside the wall. And then right here in the middle, this is where your TNT is going to land. You can set up your blast chamber however you wish, and that is also why I did not include how much obsidian you are going to need for this. Now, alongside that is your collection chamber. You can actually set up the collection chamber any way you want. Wherever your storage is, you just gotta lead it there, so it doesn't really matter. I have done a little temporary thing here that has any of the basalt that drops flowing out the back here into this little channel right here and that way, and that's where we can start building a storage unit out this direction. However, that is not the only way you can do it. You can do it in any type of way that you want, going anywhere you want, as long as you know how collection systems like that work. Okay, at this point it's time to put in the bulk of the redstone and explain why we've got a few different things going on. So first off, we're going to put redstone dust right here, right here, right here, and up to this point here. Then we're going to add 1 right there and 1 here, 1 down there, a sticky piston down there with your choice of building block on top of it. Now we're going to put in some redstone repeaters, 3 of them right there. We're going to set all 3 of these to 4 tick delay. Then we're going to take a comparator and put it right here with redstone dust going into these 2 spots here. Then we're going to take a repeater, put it there and there, facing the same direction. Now we're going to fill this entire area up with repeaters. Now that you've got all the redstone in and all these repeaters in, we need to go down here to these 5 repeaters right here and add 4 tick delay to all of them. The reason for this is so that when the signal goes up to the TnT Dupers, it gives the basalt pushers just enough time to completely fill up before the TNT drops. Okay, now that that's done, we can talk about the redstone a little bit and describe a few things that are going on here. First off, basalt generators are going to constantly be creating basalt. However, as I mentioned earlier, there is a problem, which is what this line over here fixes. And that problem is that once this is completely full, the pistons are never going to fire off again because the observer is not detecting any change in the block beneath it. So we need the pushers, or the pistons, to push out basalt occasionally when the observer is not detecting anything. That's what this line here is for. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put a pressure plate right there, so when we stand on that pressure plate, it's going to turn this line on permanently. And the problem with that is we don't want the signal on permanently, we want a pulse. However, we can also use that permanent signal for another purpose. So what's going to happen? That redstone's going to turn on, which then turns on these redstone dust in this direction here. And that's going to power this comparator. It's going to send a signal through to this repeater. At the same time, these repeaters are slowly turning on. And while they're turning on, this signal's already over there. So then we get to here where it sends the signal over to this comparator, which then turns the signal off. At the same time, that line here is going to power the sticky piston down there, which pushes this block up, allowing the signal to be transferred into our repeater timer. Now, when it comes back around and goes this way, it's going to go into this block, which then gets transferred to this repeater, that goes into this line, that leads all the way back to our pistons. So basically what that allows to happen is when the observers do not actually detect anything, they don't send a signal, meaning that the pistons never fire. That looping signal, sending a signal back around to these pistons, means that the pistons are going to turn on at some point and cause the whole process to repeat. And it's fairly quickly, so that's why we also need a little bit of delay there, is so that the basalt actually gets to the point where the TNT is actually going to blow it up. So we are going to take a few minutes to demonstrate that. Alright, so after about an hour test, we are ready to see how much we have actually gotten in terms of basalt. Now, as I said previously, you can set up your collection any way you want. This is what I ended up going for this particular demonstration and tutorial. So let's see how much we actually got. So yeah, we got one full barrel and 6 stacks and 42 of another stack, and this one should be pretty much the same. It's a little bit more. That is actually kind of surprising, but yes, this farm produces quite a bit of basalt fairly quickly, and that is part of the reason why we set up the blast chamber the way we did. You could set it up where you're getting more basalt inside the blast chamber. However, I don't see it as necessary, and you run the risk of blowing other things up when moving around the TnT Dupers. Now, something we did not go over is how to actually make the TnT Dupers. These are not my TnT Dupers, which is why I did not cover them. I did tell you the materials that you need. So let's quickly go over that a little bit. So we got a little L shape here with a sticky piston behind it. There is an activator rail. No, sorry, a detector rail underneath the minecart there. We got a wall right here on this block of slime. And then on the back side, we've got another L of slime in the opposite direction and one block down and to the side, with a coral fan on the side there. Now, the TNT actually needs to go underneath on this wall here before you actually start it. That'll get the whole process going. As far as the collection chamber for the TNT, it is oriented in a very specific way. This does solve the issue of the TnT Dupers destroying themselves. So I do highly suggest you follow exactly the way I do it. And that is, underneath the TNT where it ends up is the hole where it drops down onto its block below. So you need the water in the corner there in a 3x3 in order for the TNT to drop directly down. And the reason we did it this way is this is really the only orientation I have found that the TNT does drop and go into the hole. Other orientations, for whatever reason, do not work correctly. If you put the water source over on this side, it will not drop in correctly. If you put the water source back here on either one of these sections, it will not drop correctly. If you try to do it through the center, it will not drop correctly. So you do need the hole directly below the TNT, and then 2 blocks away you need your water source. And that is the only orientation of this setup I have found that does not self-destruct. Okay, one last thing before we go. This wall right here with the redstone, why did we do this? Honestly, this is just decorative, mostly. You can, as long as you get the signal up to the TnT Dupers, it does not matter how you do it. As far as why I did it this way, it's mostly for decoration. Now, there is one portion of it we do need to talk about, and that is this repeater right here. Unfortunately, for some reason, the redstone mechanics have changed, and you can no longer just bounce a signal back and forth, up, all the way up, and the signal strength stay. So you need a repeater at some point. That's why we have this 3 section right here with a repeater right in the middle. That is far enough that it does get to the repeater, and then sends the signal onward. As far as the rest of these repeaters, we just kind of threw them in there because, yeah, we did make a mistake on the initial building of it. I actually had this 1 block too far over. That was kind of my mistake. I didn't catch it right away. That's why there's that pause in the video in the middle, and yeah, editing Natana saying that. And then I realized I forgot to explain that repeater and why it's there. So yeah, there you go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the basalt farm completely done. I hope you enjoyed my very first tutorial, and if you find this useful and you end up building it in your world or on your server, please send me a screenshot over on Twitter. Thank you very much. I'm Natanus Likens, and this has been a little bit of an interesting journey. Take care.